form the backbone of most rural economies due to many factors that include their husbands being in the big cities working to fend for their families, having lost their husbands to the dreaded HIV/AIDS diseases, or basically taking care of the orphans of HIV/AIDS. The southern part of Sahara still leads in new infections to the dreaded disease, hence an uncontrollable amount of orphans that are a distress to rural families. There is need for positive intervention. The program, administered by the Africa 2000 Network in partnership with UNDP, works mostly with the rural communities. This consists of small grants to community-based organizations, non-governmental organizations, as well as training and research institutes, mainly in the fields of agriculture, animal husbandry, fish culture, biogas, soil regeneration, water resource management, information exchange, economic empowerment of HIV/AIDS affected and infected families, vulnerable children, gender equity, afforestation and waste management. Improvements in income enhance the ability of households to meet their basic needs and obligations such as school fees, accessing health services, clothing and financial contribution to development projects.
So far we've managed to support many groups, but the challenge has been funds. If we can get more funds, we are able to support many more groups.
Since its launch in 1990, Africa 2000 Network in Kenya has initiated several projects that benefit many families, of which women groups form 90% of the programs. The initiative has provided grants and technical assistance worth more than $3 million to rural communities countrywide. Such current projects at their initial stages are at the moment running in the following districts, namely Kilifi, Nairobi, Bungoma, Kakamega, Busia, Bondo, Nyando, Siaya, Rachuonyo and Kisii. One such project is Ushirikiano Women's Group of Ganze area in Kilifi district, which is another fresh awakening. Established only recently, the group spends some quality time to discuss on some possible development projects. They map out carefully their would-be ideologies. Their aim is to get involved in profitable projects and also sustain and manage natural resources. Through Africa 2000 Network, a group has settled for dairy farming project as an income-generating activity. Work is at an advanced stage as they work tirelessly in the scorching sun to achieve their goal. Only soon, too soon, they will be proud owners of dairy-graded cows for milk production.
Mradi huu ukiingia, tutahudumia mayatima katika masomo, mavazi, chakula. Na katika masomo, wazazi watatoa nusu ya fee ya secondary. Na ikiwa ni mtoto wa nursery, tutamlipia full.
The project will generate some income which would be used to support orphans' initiative programs. They will ensure that the orphans get enough food, uniforms and school fees. A group is well mobilized and ready to undertake the project. Mikingirini Maendeleo Women Group is also in Kilifi district at the Kenyan coast. Hot, warm and humid conditions prevail in this area. The biggest problem here is water, as most of the place is dry. The women's group has erected a Worth Water project.
Sasa sisi huu mradi tulipoanza tulikuwa hamu yetu ni maji. Hapa Mikingirini kulikuwa kuna shida ya maji. Ndio tukachukua mfereji kutokana na Zakem tukoleta hapa. Nia yetu maji yakifika hapa wananchi wapate maji karibu na sisi tuuze yale maji tupate kitu kidogo.
Bungoma, like many towns in rural Kenya, is an economic hub, booming with activities day in, day out. People here are active and creative, earning their living worthily. Fresh agricultural products produced and sold in the local markets form the primary basis of livelihood. This town is on the verge of growing faster. A local Nema ACK women group has today played host to Africa 2000 Network's team on its normal routine visits, in which they have come to experience firsthand the growth of this women group. Few months ago, the group generated a noble idea, and Africa 2000 Network Kenya gave funds to this group to support their initiative and empower them to start an income-generating activity which would empower them economically and support vulnerable children. At the initial stage, apart from sewing machines purchased for them, each member of the group was given an amount of Kenya shillings 1,500, which is equivalent to $21, to purchase and stock raw materials to be used. Only a few months and their business is making a considerable profit. On the wall of their little shop are some quality assorted finished products made not only for the local markets but also for the markets far away in the big cities. The group works diligently and tirelessly, knowing too well that their livelihoods will have to change for the better. Mobilizing communities to work together is core for rural development. From Vumilivu Women's Group of Bungoma District in Western Kenya, unity is strength, and this is evidently seen in their faces. Through their frantic efforts with support from Africa 2000 Network, the members bought a piece of land where they carry out their activities of brickmaking. Through this initiative, the group has managed to set up a nursery school that brings in some monetary income apart from enrolling 10 orphans. 5 widows who were incorporated in the group have also benefited from the project. They are assisted through the group's financial resources acquired from brickmaking.
Tusaidiane upande na upande. Vile tulianza mradi ya matafari, tulionelea vile tukipata faida, tuanze kusaidia kama watoto mayatima. Tukachukua watoto mayatima kama watoto 10, tukaingiza kwa nursery schools. Mwishowe tukaenda tukatembelea wajane. Sasa hivi tuko na wajane 5 ambao tukipata kitu kidogo kwa matafari yetu huwa tunawasaidia.
Your Pachi Women's Group of Luanda District in Nyanza Province is another beneficiary of Africa 2000 Network Kenya. The group started an OVC Orphans program in the year 2000 to cater for the orphans' needs. Your Pachi currently cares for 60 orphans between the ages of 4 to 18. Each member of the group takes the responsibility for 3 orphans, despite the fact that the orphans live at home with their relatives. Once a year, the women get donations of second-hand clothes from their friends in the United States for the orphan children, and every foster parent ensures that the children are well dressed. A group has also undertaken a feeding program where the orphans are fed once a week on maize and beans using members' individual resources. Impressed by the group's efforts of taking care of the orphans, Africa 2000 Network intervened in 2002 and granted the group to initiate a dairy project that would donate some of the milk to orphans. A number of members got cows, and after their cows had calved heifers, they transfer the benefits to the subsequent member of the group with the approval of other members. Africa 2000 Network will continue supporting appropriate innovations that community-based organizations and other grassroots groups initiate to empower the communities to take center stage in the development process. To cover greater mileage in its development initiatives so as to keep up with the 2015 target of MDGs, the Africa 2000 Network Kenya has sought to implement the concept of participatory development management in its approach to community development. Participatory development management aims to deepen participation in decentralized development planning at all levels of local governance. It involves the use of participatory processes and practices in the management of local development. It builds on the provision of empowerment of communities to participate in and take decisions on matters affecting their lives at all levels of local governance under decentralized governance. The first pilot project under this concept is being carried out in Bondo District in Central Sakwa location, and it will be replicated to other parts of the country upon its success. The Africa 2000 network in Kenya succeeds an earlier program that operated in the country since 1990, which is part of the 13 Pan-African Africa 2000 network. The Africa 2000 network operated under the auspices of United Nations Development Programme, Regional Bureau of Africa, with support from the governments of Canada, Japan, France, Denmark and Norway as part of the international efforts to mobilize efforts and resources for assisting Africa to achieve the set goals of Millennium Development. The program covered Kenya, Burundi, Uganda, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Lesotho, Mauritania, Rwanda, Senegal, Tanzania and Zimbabwe. Since the year 2000, Africa 2000 Network Kenya has undergone a transformation from the unit of UNDP into an autonomous Pan-African NGO with 11 independent but affiliated national chapters. The Kenyan chapter was registered as a society under the Registrar of Societies Act in the laws of the Republic of Kenya in 2004. It is non-profit making and non-political, focusing on promoting sustainable development at grassroots level. Africa 2000 Network Kenya works with several stakeholders interested in supporting community development. These include community members organized in groups, local development agencies and organizations, non-governmental organizations, central and local governments, the private sector, professional bodies, faith-based organizations and funding agencies. This new program, directed by Africa 2000 Network Kenya, has refocused its mandate to facilitate holistic, effective and sustainable local community development through the promotion of the Catalytic Program for Participatory Development Management. The mandate of the Africa 2000 Network Kenya is therefore focused on catalytic participatory development at community level as the most effective way of empowering communities to take charge of their own development agenda and to challenge as well as inform policy levels on issues that affect their well-being. Africa 2000 Network's vision is to empower local communities to be capable of determining and contributing to their own development goals. Africa 2000 Network's mission is to strengthen the capacity of local communities in Kenya in order to eradicate poverty by supporting innovative interventions, networking for mutual learning, and building capacity for sustainable development management.